Welcome to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the future of radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, November 30th, 2020. November is almost gone. Next thing you know, it will be Christmas and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Welcome to the African History Network show. Hope everybody's doing well. We're broadcasting on 910 a.m. the Superstation, WFDF here in Detroit. Also on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. Well, it's a lot going on. It's been a very busy weekend and a lot going on in the news. If you've been following me on my Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, you know we've been posting about a lot of the developments that have been taking place. And then, so we have the U.S. bracing for post-Thanksgiving coronavirus surge. We'll give an update on what's going on with coronavirus. We'll also talk about some picks Joe Biden has made for his communications team. He announced a all-female communications team. Then we know today is also the birthday of Shirley Chisolm, former Congresswoman Shirley Chisolm, Shirley Anita St. Hill Chisolm. And we know Shirley Chisolm helped pave the way for Vice President Elect Kamala Harris. So we'll talk some about Shirley Chisolm today. And this is also the birth date of actor Robert Guillame. Robert Guillame, and many people remember him as Benson on the TV show on ABC, Benson, and also remember him from A Different World. He was he had a recurring role as a professor on A Different World, and he was on shows like Good Times and things like that. But he was probably best known for the TV show Benson. Okay, so Robert Guillame. This is also the birth date of actor Robert Guillame. So we'll talk a little bit about Robert Guillame as well. And then, you know, I posted an article a couple of days ago from, posted an article today from businessinsider.com. Congress is briefly reconvening under pressure from Trump and Biden to pass a COVID-19 stimulus bill after months of gridlock. Congress is briefly reconvening under pressure from Trump and Biden to pass a COVID-19 stimulus bill after months of gridlock. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then in our history segment, we ran out of time on our Sunday night show. We had a jam-packed Sunday night show. So check that out at our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. And we will be rebroadcasting the Sunday night show on our social media channels also. So you'll be able to check it out there. And we're rebroadcasting a lot of these shows throughout the day at the African History Network on Facebook. November 26, 1861. November 26, 1861 is when the new state of West Virginia was formed. And you had pro-Union Virginia counties form new state of West Virginia and separate from Virginia, which stayed part of the Confederacy. Okay, we're going to deal with some of this history, and the fight was over slavery. Okay, we're going to deal with some of this history, and this ties into our Sunday night show. We just ran out of time on the Sunday night show, but this ties into what we were talking about on the Sunday night show and dealing with the Confederate battle flag and the history of the Confederate battle flag, but then also dealing with Donald Trump threatening to veto the National Defense and Authorization Act, the National Defense and Authorization Act, the NDAA, which is the bill that funds the military. And he's threatening to veto the bill because there's a portion of the bill that will rename some of the military bases that are named after Confederate military heroes and Confederate military soldiers. Okay. And we know that these were people who were traitors to the Union. So this, what happened November 26, 1861 ties right into that history. We just ran out of time on our Sunday night show to discuss it. All right. And, we talked about on our Sunday night show also that there was a recount done in 2 counties in Wisconsin. And Joe Biden picked up 87 votes. Donald Trump paid $3 million for a recount of 2 counties in Wisconsin because he could not afford the full $8 million for a recount in all of Wisconsin. And he paid, that averaged out to about $34,000 a vote. So thanks, Donald Trump. Thanks, Donald Trump. All right, so we'll talk about those topics on today's show. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events and history, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Speaking of sex, now people are still talking about the interview I did with Kenya K. Stevens of the Progressive Love Academy, Sex Talk with Kenya K. Stevens. Exploring the pleasure within and the Diva Deep Dive. So you can check that out at our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. That's like PG-13. Okay, don't watch that with little children around, but that's like PG-13. And it's also at our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. Check that out as well. Okay, so sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. Then also you can sign up for our email newsletter at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up for our email newsletter there as well. If you'd like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Then also through PayPal, paypal.me / the AHN Show, paypal.me / the AHN Show. Okay. All right. So before we go to break, let's jump into our news roundup segment here. Okay, so the U.S. braces for post-Thanksgiving coronavirus surge, and this is what I've been warning people about, okay? After millions of Americans rejected warnings against traveling and gathering over the Thanksgiving holiday, public health officials fear another explosion of COVID-19 cases. Public health officials fear another explosion of COVID-19 cases. Dr. Anthony Fauci told NBC News, what we expect, unfortunately, as we go for the next couple of weeks into December, is that we might see a surge superimposed on the surge we are already in. We may see a surge superimposed on the surge we are already in. Now, Dr. Deborah Birx, the White House coronavirus response coordinator, said on Sunday that travelers, quote, have to assume that you were exposed and you became infected and you really need to get tested in the next week. Travelers have to assume they were exposed and you became infected. And you really need to get tested in the next week. Okay, so all those people, there were about 3.9 million people who traveled Friday through Sunday, that Friday through Sunday, and they need to get travel. We know this on Sunday. What day was that? I think it was on Sunday. It was at least 1 million people who traveled, and actually the Friday through Sunday before Thanksgiving. The Friday through Sunday before Thanksgiving, there were 3 million people who traveled. There's basically 1 million people a day who traveled. So they traveled through TSA. Okay, so we are, the public health experts are saying that really the worst is yet to come. We are, we saw this past Sunday 131,000 new cases of coronavirus reported. We have a record number of people being hospitalized and 93,000 people nationwide being hospitalized. We're currently at 13.5 million cases, 13.5 million cases of coronavirus. Over the weekend, we surpassed 13 million cases nationwide. We're currently at 267,000 deaths, according to the COVID tracking project, and a tally by NBC News. Now, in the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo said he has triggered emergency procedures now that hospitalizations in the one-time epicenter have reached levels not seen since the spring. Quote, it's a new phase in the war against COVID, Governor Andrew Cuomo said. So we're seeing in various cities and various states across the country record levels or near record levels of hospitalizations. And we're going to get to the point where the hospitals are being overran like they were early this year, like they were in, April, May of this year, when we were at what we thought was the worst. Then we see that Dr. Scott Atlas, the neuroradiologist that Donald Trump saw on Fox News and liked him so much that he brought him onto the coronavirus task force. We see that Dr. Scott Atlas has parted ways with the White House. Scott Atlas resigns as Trump's coronavirus advisor after months of feuding with administration health officials. And he had no background in fighting infectious diseases. He wasn't a virologist or epidemiologist or anything like this. It's just somebody Donald Trump saw on Fox News and liked him and brought him on to the team. He pretty much headed up. They pushed Dr. Anthony Fauci to the side. He pretty much headed up the team, and he was the one largely pushing this herd immunity nonsense. Dr. Scott Atlas, Donald Trump's pandemic advisor, who embraced a controversial strategy of urging Americans to return to work and school with little restriction, and spent months feuding with the White House coronavirus task force's other doctors, resigned on Monday, November 30th, 2020, according to a letter he posted to his Twitter account. Dr. Scott Atlas had become widely disliked in the White House, even among aides who shared his view that the country should reopen and that officials should not worry about young, healthy people contracting the virus, according to two senior administration officials who, like others, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss personal matters. Dr. Scott Atlas's resignation was first reported by Fox News on Monday evening. The White House declined to comment. Although Atlas, a neuroradiologist with no infectious disease or public health background, fell out of favor with senior White House advisors in recent weeks, he was the only medical advisor the president met with regularly for several months, according to several senior administration officials. Now, Donald Trump's son-in-law and White House senior advisor Jared Kushner, who owes Deutsche Bank about $285 million, and said that for Donald Trump's policies to work, Black people have to want to succeed. Jared Kushner brought in Dr. Scott Atlas, who was officially made a special government employee this past summer with a 130-day detail, which expires this week. Aides noted, however, that Donald Trump could have extended Atlas's tenure if he had desired to do so. So check out this article here from, check out the rest of the article from the Washington Post, and NBCnews.com is reporting on this as well. Scott Atlas resigns as Trump's coronavirus advisor after months of feuding with administration health officials. Okay, but this is what happens when you bring in somebody that has no clue what the hell they're talking about. All right, so then we see that Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris received first classified presidential daily briefings today also. And they're getting more than Donald Trump does, because he doesn't pay attention in his presidential daily briefings, and he doesn't read. That's part of the problem. Okay, because if he'd been reading his presidential daily briefings, he would have known about coronavirus back in November and December of 2019. All right, we're coming up here on a break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. When we come back, we'll talk about Shirley Chisholm. We'll talk about Robert Guillame. And we'll talk about the formation of the state of West Virginia that separated from Virginia, and the dispute was over slavery in 1861. Who would have thought? 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by, everybody. How's everybody doing? Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. Stand by. We're on commercial break. All right. How's everybody doing today? Stand by, everybody. How's everybody doing? Okay, Donna, 90, Tawana, how's everybody doing? If you all like this type of information, also you could donate to the African History Network, $, the AHN show through Cash App, $, the AHN show through Cash App. Also, African American owned businesses, African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. We have a few more spots, open. Stand by. We'll be back from break in just a minute here. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on social media platforms. Okay, stand by, everybody. We'll be back from break in a couple of minutes. All right, we'll be back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, November 30th, 2020, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600. Okay. All right. So we see that Joe Biden has announced a all-female communications team, and you have Black women to serve on Biden's. You have Black women who will be serving on that team as well. President-elect Joe Biden has hired an all-female senior communications team, and Biden said in a statement, communicating directly and truthfully to the American people is one of the most important duties of a president, and this team will be entrusted with the tremendous responsibility of connecting the American people to the White House. On this team, we see Karine Jean-Pierre, Simone Sanders, Ashley Etienne. Thegrio.com has a good article about this. 3 of the 7 women on the team are Black women. The Black women I just mentioned. Simone Sanders is 30 years old, former CNN political commentator and senior advisor for Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign. She will now serve as senior advisor and chief spokesperson for Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Simone Sanders was the youngest presidential press secretary in 2016. when she worked on Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. Karine Jean-Pierre, 43 years old, former senior advisor to Joe Biden and chief of staff for Senator Kamala Harris, will now serve as the principal deputy press secretary. She formerly served as Southeast Regional Political Director for President Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign. And then we have Ashley Etienne, who Ashley Etienne, who served as a senior advisor on the Biden-Harris campaign, will now step in the role as the communications director for Vice President Kamala Harris. In August of 2020, Vanity Fair called Ashley Etienne, quote, Biden's deadliest weapon against Trump, end quote, and the queen of the war rooms for her involvement in Democrats' impeachment messaging towards Donald Trump. Okay. Check out the rest of this article here at thegrio.com. We posted it on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, also. Black women to serve on Biden's all-women communications team. Check that out at thegrio.com. We'll post a link here on the thread of the broadcast also. We posted this piece here from news.yahoo.com. And this was from, let's see, November 26, 2020. Trump's inner circle is telling him that Giuliani and the rest of his legal team are making him look like an idiot, report says. I'm not making this up. Trump's inner circle is telling him that Giuliani and the rest of his legal team are making him look like an idiot. Now, I'm not part of Trump's legal team. I'm not part of Trump's inner circle. But I can tell you from the outside, hundreds of miles away from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, that Giuliani and Trump's legal team is making him look like an idiot. Okay? Multiple members of Donald Trump's inner circle have told him that his legal team is making him look like an idiot, the Daily Beast reported. Trump appointed Rudy Giuliani, his personal lawyer, to lead the Trump campaign's legal challenges to the 2020 election results. He hired them on November 14th to challenge the election results from November 3rd. Now, there have been 41 cases. MSNBC did a tally of this. We posted the graphic on our Instagram page, Michael Imhotep on Instagram, and people have been following me on Instagram. So we appreciate that also. And we posted this on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, and my personal page as well. Let me pull up this graphic here. So there have been 41 cases filed by the Trump campaign. Trump legal challenges. 7 have been withdrawn, 9 denied, 9 dismissed, 1 case relief granted, and you have 11 currently active cases. There's only been like 1 case they won. Okay, this stuff is being thrown out. Some of these cases being thrown out with prejudice, which means you can't come back and bring another case charging the same allegations. Now, this month, Donald Trump has made various bizarre media appearances. Giuliani has made various bizarre media appearances, including hosting a briefing at a Philadelphia garden center on November 8th and sweating so profusely that black dye ran down his face on November 19th. On Monday, NBC reported that Trump was worried his legal team were, quote, fools that are making him look bad, end quote. Fools that are making him look bad. Okay, this was last Monday. So check this out from news.yahoo.com. They have a pretty good article here. We got almost 1,000 likes on this one. You know, you get what you pay for also, I guess. Well, sometimes you don't, because rumors are he's paying Rudy Giuliani $20,000 a day, and Rudy Giuliani is making him look like a fool, but that doesn't take much doing. All right. Then also we see that the state of Arizona has certified election results as Rudy Giuliani's baseless claims of voter fraud continue. Arizona officially certified Joe Biden's victory in the state of Arizona on Monday, November 30th, 2020, delivering another significant blow to Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the election. Governor Doug Ducey, a Republican, expressed confidence in the results. Quote, "We do elections well here in Arizona. We do elections well here in Arizona. The system is strong," Doug Ducey said in Phoenix. Just a few miles away, Donald Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, attended a meeting with state Republicans where he leveled allegations of voter fraud, but again provided no evidence. Now, see, this is one of the problems. And, you got all these black Republicans. You notice how silent all these black Republicans who were trying to convince us to vote for Trump before the election. Notice how silent they were when Trump was trying to nullify and undermine our vote and invalidate our vote in Detroit and Philadelphia and Atlanta and Milwaukee and things like this, right? Notice how silent they were. They got laryngitis and apparently amnesia and arthritis as well, because they couldn't tweet about it. But here you have, when you study these cases, and we talked about the one in Philadelphia, and one in Pennsylvania that was thrown out. We talked about this on our Sunday night show. A couple of the cases in Pennsylvania, they were thrown out, and they were not. There was no evidence provided. Reuters.com reported a federal appeals court on Friday rejected an attempt by Donald Trump's campaign to block President-elect Joe Biden from being declared the winner of Pennsylvania, dealing another significant setback to Trump's bid to overturn the November 3rd election. The three-judge panel stated, quote, "Free, fair elections are the lifeblood of our democracy. Charges of unfairness are serious, but calling an election unfair does not make it so," said Stephanie Bibas, B-I-B-A-S, on behalf of the three-judge panel. But calling an election unfair does not make it so. You have to provide evidence. Quote, "Charges require specific allegations and then proof. We have neither here," end quote, wrote Stephanos Bibas on behalf of the three-judge panel. "Charges require specific allegations and then proof. We have neither here." Okay. The Trump campaign and its supporters have tried and failed to convince judges of election irregularities in Michigan, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, all critical to Biden's victory. Quote, "Voters, not lawyers, choose the president. Ballots, not briefs, decide elections," end quote, said the appeals court opinion. Check out this article from Reuters.com. We'll post a link here. In fresh blow to Trump, U.S. court rejects Pennsylvania election case. So this stuff is just getting thrown out. These are frivolous lawsuits, just getting thrown out all over the place. All right. So let's want to get to those stories here in our news roundup segment. And check out the articles we posted on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, as well. Okay. For more information on these topics. Okay. So today is the birthday of Shirley Chisolm, former Congresswoman Shirley Chisolm, and also actor Robert Guillame. Now, we posted about Robert Guillame. We shared the post from Soul TV. We posted this on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, and they got hundreds of likes. Robert Guillame was born November 30th, 1927. Passed away October 24th, 2017. He was an actor and singer known for his role as Benson Dubois. And I'm not sure if he was related to Dr. W.B. Du Bois in the show, but I guess there's a possibility because I haven't met too many African Americans with the last name Dubois. So he started out on the television show Soap. And then his TV show Benson on ABC, which he's best known for, was a spinoff of the TV show Soap. Okay, he's also known as for voicing the Mandrill Rafiki, Rafiki, in the Lion King and related media thereof. Okay. Now, on the TV show Benson, he starts out as a butler on Benson. And when you watch Benson, he's basically the smartest person on the show. He's a butler to the governor. Okay. And he's living in the governor's mansion. He's a butler to the governor. The governor kind of reminds you of President George W. Bush. He's not that bright. Okay. The son, George W. Bush. That's what the governor reminds you of him, because he's not that bright. So as the show progresses, Benson then becomes budget director. He gets promoted from being a butler, becomes budget director, then he becomes lieutenant governor. Okay, on the show. And when you go watch it, you see you see a number of different things. One, you see the when you understand the landscape of television back in the 1980s, especially before the Cosby Show, you see a lot of these more stereotypical images of African Americans. You see an African American man, Benson, as a butler. Now, this is not being critical of him. This is talking about the white people that greenlight all this stuff. Okay, and who are in control. You see Benson as a butler. You see the TV show Give Me a Break. You see Nell Carter as a housekeeper. Okay. You see TV shows like Different Strokes. All right. Which was on NBC and then moved to ABC. Different Strokes, where you have Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges. Their mother is a maid for a rich white man, Philip Drummond. She dies. None of the relatives can take care of these little black children. So the rich white man takes care of them. Okay. Then that became such a big hit that ABC that became such a big hit that ABC wanted their own version of Different Strokes. So they came out with Webster, Emmanuel Lewis, who became famous partly from Burger King commercials. Emmanuel Lewis starred in his show Webster, okay, with former Detroit Lions Alex Karras. And Webster was about a little boy. So Webster's father was football teammates with Alex Karras. Webster's mother and father died. I think it was in a car crash or something like that. They die. None of the black relatives can take care of this little black boy. So the white family takes care of him. Just similar to Different Strokes. Right. So these are the type of shows that we saw on network television in the late 70s, early 80s, especially before the Cosby Show. Okay. Cosby Show debuts about 84, 85, especially before then. But nonetheless, Benson, when you go watch the show, and I've seen like every episode of Benson all throughout the seasons and saw him progress from a butler to a budget director, then lieutenant governor. You know, he was brilliant. He was like the smartest person on the show. Now, in a career that spanned more than 50 years, Robert Guillame worked extensively on stage, television, and film. For his efforts, he was nominated for a Tony Award for his portrayal of Nathan Detroit in Guys and Dolls, and twice won an Emmy Award for his portrayal of the character Benson Dubois, once in 1975 on the TV show Soap, and then in 1985 on his show Benson. Now, he also won a Grammy Award. He also won a Grammy Award in 1995 for his spoken word performance of an audiobook version of The Lion King. Robert Guillame studied at St. Louis University and Washington University and served in the United States Army before pursuing an acting career. And he was also on A Different World. He portrayed a college professor on A Different World. He was on an episode of Good Times as Fishbone. And there was a car accident and everybody thought Fishbone was killed and found out he wasn't killed. So those were minor roles that he played, but best known for the TV show Benson. Okay, so today's the birth date of Robert Guillame. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Okay. And then also today is the birth date of Shirley Chisolm, Unbought and Unbossed. Shirley Chisolm at news1.com. They have a article on Shirley Chisolm, 10 quotes by Shirley Chisolm. Okay, we'll look at that briefly here. And there was an article back August 1st, 2020 by Deneen L. Brown for the Washington Post. Shirley Chisolm blazed the way for Kamala Harris to be Biden's VP pick. Shirley Chisolm blazed the way for Senator Kamala Harris to be Biden's VP pick. So if we look at a article from blackpast.org, about Shirley Chisolm. She was born November 30th, 1924 in New York City. She passed away on January 1st, 2005. And Shirley Chisolm is even referenced on the TV show Sanford and Son. Okay. Now, Shirley Anita St. Hill Chisolm was an advocate for the rights of people of color and for women's rights. And she in November 1968, she became the first Black woman elected to the United States Congress. The first Black woman elected to the United States Congress in November 1968. Now, 4 years later, she became the first Black person to seek a major party's nomination for the U.S. presidency when she ran for the Democratic Party nomination. Okay. Now, Shirley Chisolm represented New York's Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn. And when initially elected, she was assigned to the House Agriculture Committee, which she felt was irrelevant to her urban constituency. In an unheard move, she demanded reassignment and got switched to the Veterans Affairs Committee. By the time she left that chamber, she had a place on the prized Rules and Education and Labor Committees. Shirley Chisolm was born in Brooklyn, New York, as the eldest of four daughters of parents who were immigrants from Barbados. Okay. A lot of people don't know this. Her parents were immigrants from Barbados, but she was still Black. Okay. Just so we're clear. She's still of African descent. She received her BA degree from Brooklyn College of the City University of New York in 1946, and she earned a Master's of Arts degree from Columbia University in 1952 while working as a nursery school teacher, director of a child care center, and later as an educational consultant with the city's child care department. Now, in 1964, Shirley Chisolm began her political career as a member of the New York State Legislature as an assembly person. After 4 years there, she was elected on the Democratic ticket to serve in the U.S. Congress. She served 2 terms in the U.S. Congress, and in 1972 ran in the New York Democratic primary for President of the United States, establishing another first for Black women. Now, Shirley Chisolm recounted her campaign for the presidency in her book, Unbought and Unbossed. And keep in mind, most African Americans, she didn't get support from many African Americans in Congress. When she ran for president, she got very little support, and she basically financed her campaign with her own money and with credit cards. Now, after leaving Congress, she was named to the Purington chair at Mount Holyoke College, Purington, and Holyoke in Massachusetts, where she taught for 4 years. In 1985, she became a visiting scholar at Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia. In the later years of her life, Shirley Chisholm became a sought-after speaker on the lecture circuit. Okay, and she passed away January 1st, 2005. Check out this piece from blackpast.org on Shirley Chisholm. Now, the Washington Post, Deneen L. Brown for the Washington Post, is an article from August 1st, 2020. Shirley Chisholm blazed the way for Kamala Harris to be Biden's VP pick. Shirley Chisholm blazed the way for Kamala Harris to be Biden's VP pick. And we're going to pull up this article here also. How's everybody doing? Let me see. We have any callers, Shakita? Calling number is 313-778-7600 if you have a quick question or comment. Now, Shirley Chisholm said, quote, "I am not the candidate for Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman, and I am equally proud of that. I am not the candidate of any political bosses or fat cats or special interests." She said, I stand here now without endorsement from many big name politicians or celebrities or any other kind of prop. I do not intend to offer you the tired and glib cliches that have too long been an accepted part of our political life. I am the candidate of the people of America. I am the candidate of the people of America. And let me pull up this article here. Okay, so Shirley Chisholm was the first Black woman elected to Congress. She ran against Senator George McGovern, who would go on to win the Democratic nomination, but lose in a dramatic landslide to Republican Richard Nixon. So Shirley Chisholm's presidential bid would be remembered for the power of her speeches, her fortitude, her fortitude, and her brutal honesty about racism, sexism, politics, and the state of the country. Now, Shirley Chisholm's defiant campaign has received renewed attention, especially after Joe Biden made history by announcing Senator Kamala Harris would be his running mate, putting a woman of color on a presidential ticket on the major presidential ticket for the first time. We know Charlotta Bass, who was the publisher of the California Eagle Black newspaper. We know she ran for vice president back in the 1950s. Okay. We talked about that a couple of months ago. Charlotta Bass, and news1.com has a article dealing with that also. Face-to-faceafrica.com as well. Face-to-faceafrica.com is an article from August 13th, 2020. Charlotta Bass was the first Black woman to run for VP before Kamala Harris. Charlotta Bass was the first Black woman to run for VP before Kamala Harris. Bass was a newspaper publisher. She was the first Black woman to run for national office as the vice presidential candidate for the Progressive Party in 1952. Okay, in 1952, she campaigned with the slogan, "Win or lose, we win by raising the issues. Win or lose, we win by raising the issues." Okay, Charlotta Bass told the crowd during her acceptance speech, "This is a historic moment in American political life, historic for myself, for my people, for all women. For the first time in the history of this nation, a political party has chosen a Negro woman for the second highest office in the land. Okay. Now, so check out this article here from face-to-faceafrica.com. Charlotta Bass was the first Black woman to run for VP before Kamala Harris. Okay, let's go back to the article from the Washington Post by Deneen L. Brown. Shirley Chisholm blazed the way for Kamala Harris to be Biden's VP pick. So during Shirley Chisholm's bid for the Democratic presidential nomination, during her bid for the Democratic presidential nomination, Senator Kamala Harris promoted the logo for the people, which her campaign said was an acknowledgement of Shirley Chisholm's campaign. In a February 2019 interview with the Griot, Senator Kamala Harris said Shirley Chisholm was extraordinary, powerful, and courageous. Quote, she reminds me of the many sayings of my mother, and that is, don't let anybody tell you who you are. You tell them who you are. That was Shirley Chisholm, Unbought, Unbought and Unbossed. I stand as so many of us do on her shoulders. Okay, check out the rest of this article here from the Washington Post. And I think also Viola Davis plans to play the role of Shirley Chisholm in the upcoming Amazon biopic called The Fighting Shirley Chisholm. Okay. We'll post a link here to this article from the Washington Post also about Shirley Chisholm as well. Now, newsone.com has 10 quotes. Shirley Chisholm is unbought and unbossed. Powerful quotes from the first Black Congresswoman. Okay. You can check this out also. They posted this November 30th, 2020. About Shirley Chisholm as well. And let's look at some of these quotes here. If we can look at some of these. You don't have to make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring in a folding chair. If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring you a folding chair. Service is the rent you pay for the room on this earth. Service is the rent you pay for the room on this earth. Let's look at one more. Racism is so universal in this country, so widespread and so deep-seated that it is invisible because it is so normal. Racism is so universal in this country, so widespread and so and deep-seated that it is invisible because it is so universal. And let's look at one more. When morality comes up against profit, it is seldom that profit loses. When morality comes up against profit, it is seldom that profit loses. Okay, so check this out at newsone.com. They have 10 powerful quotes from Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm is unbought and unbossed. Powerful quotes from the first Black Congresswoman. And yeah, she was still Black just because her parents were not born in this country. She's still of African descent. Okay, November 26, 1861. November 26, 1861, pro-Union Virginia counties form new state of West Virginia. Now, this is during the Civil War. Civil War starts April 12th, 1861. Okay, and this takes place November 1861. State of West Virginia formed, slavery authorized. How much time we have left in the show, Shakita? Now, on November 26, 1861, we didn't get a chance to talk about this on a Sunday night show. We ran out of time. On November 26, 1861, a section of the state of Virginia began proceedings to separate and create the new state of West Virginia. All right. So if you ever wondered, okay, why is there a Virginia and a West Virginia? Okay, what's up with that? On November 26, 1861, a section of the state of Virginia began proceedings to separate and create the new state of West Virginia. The new state was formed. From a region of Virginia that strongly opposed the state's decision to secede from the Union and join the Confederacy in the Civil War. However, despite forming to be part of the Union, the new state's constitution authorized slavery to continue in West Virginia, and it was not abolished until 1865. That's going to be after the Civil War ends. Okay, so you have this now. Keep in mind, Virginia is where the Nat Turner Rebellion of 1831 took place. And when you go study the Nat Turner Rebellion, and I've got the book right here. So a lot of the people saw the movie The Birth of a Nation, not the original Birth of a Nation from February 8th, 1915, directed by D.W. Griffith. A lot of people saw the movie The Birth of a Nation, directed by Nate Parker, about the Nat Turner Rebellion of 1831, also known as the Southampton County Insurrection. Okay, well, this book right here is the official tie-in to the movie The Birth of a Nation. Okay, a lot of people don't know this book exists. Okay, this is called The Birth of a Nation, Nat Turner and the Making of a Movement, edited by Nate Parker. This is it says right here, the official movie tie-in. This book gives background information on the making of the movie, has interviews with Nate Parker, Gabrielle Union, the different actors and actresses in the movies, but there's also a history section of this book. And in the history section is written by two bad African-American female historians, Dr. Erica Armstrong Dunbar and Dr. Dana Ramey Berry. Okay. And I've interviewed both of these sisters. All right. The chapter in this book that deals with the history of the Nat Turner Rebellion is called The Unbroken Chain of Enslaved African Resistance and Rebellion. The Unbroken Chain of Enslaved African Resistance and Rebellion. That's starts on page 35 of this book. Okay. Now, when you study the history of the Nat Turner Rebellion of 1831, Virginia almost outlawed slavery because of that rebellion. They voted on it in the state legislature. And because of that rebellion and it scared white people so much, they almost ended slavery because of the Nat Turner. They almost ended slavery in Virginia because of the Nat Turner Rebellion. Well, we're going to see 30 years after the Nat Turner Rebellion, you're going to have a split between Virginia and a section of it that's going to form West Virginia, and they're splitting over slavery as well. Now, at the time, Eastern Virginia planters, at the time of 1861, Eastern Virginia planters enslaved many more African Americans than people in the Western counties. Okay, in 1861, around that time, Eastern Virginia planters enslaved many more African people than people in Western counties, while also holding much of the power in the Virginia state legislature due to the larger populations in their region, fueled in part by enslaved African people. When representatives of Eastern Virginia voted to join the Confederacy, the Confederate States of America, the CSA, okay, the traitors to the Union, when the representatives of Eastern Virginia voted to join the Confederacy on April 17th, 1861, a group of Western delegates led by John S. Carlisle walked out and swore to form a government from Western counties in Virginia that would remain loyal to the Union. All right, so we're out of time here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. We're going to continue this discussion at our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. The African History Network will continue to broadcast there, and on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep, Imhotep. So you can watch us there. If you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network. $ the AHN Show through Cash App. $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Remember, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. All right, stand by, everybody. Yeah, disconnect from the radio station. All right, stand by. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF here in Detroit. I do radio here in Detroit, and we're here Sundays 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also on 9:10 a.m. here in Detroit. And then we continue discussion on our social media platforms. So we'll be here a little while longer. We're going to finish. I want to finish this topic. African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. Email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I have like 3 more slots because we brought on a new advertiser today. I have like 3 more slots left. Email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. Okay. We'll get you up and running right away. And we create a video commercial for you, no additional charge, and the audio commercial. And we air that during the when we rebroadcast these shows. So when you follow our fan page, you see us rebroadcasting shows throughout the day. Okay. All right. Let's continue. And also, if you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show as well. So that really helps us keep doing the research and stay on the air, being that we're here 6 days a week instead of 1 day a week. All right, let's continue here. Okay, let's go back to the end. Let me see if I can let me see if I can pull up this article also here. All right, everybody, share this broadcast here on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in as well. All right, let me pull this up here. Okay, so over the next few months, delegates held an alternative convention and voted to form the new state of West Virginia, West Virginia. At the Constitutional Convention that began on November 26, 1861, and lasted until February 1862, delegates considered many topics, including slavery. While the delegates were united in wanting to join the Union, many of these delegates wanted slavery to continue in West Virginia. Okay, so they wanted to stay loyal to the Union, but they wanted to maintain slavery also, many of them. They didn't want to join the Confederacy, the traitors to the Union. They didn't want to take up arms against the Union and go to war with the Union. Okay, but they wanted to maintain slavery, many of them. Now, delegates considered gradual emancipation for currently enslaved African people in the new West Virginia state boundaries. Others proposed banning all Black people, all African people, enslaved or free from the state. Okay. And you know, in next few shows, we're going to deal with some of the history of Oregon, because Oregon tried to ban all black people for Morgan. Okay. And then we're going to talk about this story sometime this week. We'll talk about this story dealing with Oklahoma, some of the history of Oklahoma. Oklahoma at one time was an all-black territory. Lincoln, Oklahoma, at one time was an all-black territory. So delegates considered gradual emancipation for currently enslaved African people in the new West Virginia state boundaries. Others proposed banning all black people, all African people enslaved or free from the state. Quote, no slave shall be brought, end quote, the draft constitution read, or free person of color be permitted to come into this state for permanent residence. Now, on February 12th, 1863, however, the delegates adopted revisions mandated by Congress, which still authorized slavery to continue in West Virginia. Now, under the final Constitution, enslaved black children born after July 4th, 1863, were to be freed immediately, and all other enslaved children were to be freed when they turned 21. Okay, let me repeat. Under the final Constitution of West Virginia, the newly formed state of West Virginia, enslaved African children born after July 4th, 1863, this is during the Civil War, which is 1861, 1865. Enslaved African children born after July 4th, 1863 were to be freed immediately, and all other enslaved children were to be freed when they turned 21. The revised Constitution, with this policy of gradual abolition, was approved days later, and West Virginia gained statehood into the Union. Consequently, because the January 1863 Emancipation Proclamation because the 1863 Emancipation Proclamation, according to the proclamation, freed enslaved people in rebelling territories, legal slavery actually ended in Virginia before it ended in West Virginia, though Virginia defied the proclamation through the end of the Civil War. Virginia stays part of the Confederacy. So we've talked about this before. The Emancipation Proclamation did not legally free the slaves, even though people say it did. If you read the Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863, it says that enslaved people in the territories in rebellion, those territories that seceded from the Union, those slaves in those territories are free. It tells you that slaves in the border states like Maryland, Kentucky, and Delaware, Missouri, they're still slaves. Those states, those territories that stay loyal to the Union, they're still slaves. Those border states. Now, the fact of the matter is they didn't have any authority. The Union didn't have any authority to make any laws governing the Confederate states because they seceded from the Union. They broke away from the Union, set up their own government. Okay, so you have no control over what they do. So the Emancipation Proclamation, in all actuality, that's not what freed enslaved African people. It's going to be the 13th Amendment that's ratified and adopted in December 1865 after the Civil War ends. Okay, so West Virginia ultimately abolishes slavery in 1865, shortly before the passage of the 13th Amendment. West Virginia, which separates from Virginia, is going to ultimately abolish slavery in 1865 shortly before the passage of the 13th Amendment. All right. Okay, so check this out at EJI.org, Equal Justice Initiative.org. State of West Virginia formed, slavery authorized, November 26, 1861. State of West Virginia formed, slavery authorized, November 26, 1861. Okay. And this is during the U.S. Civil War. You're going to have so see, once again, contrary to popular belief, in the various states, all the slaves weren't freed at the same time. What I mean by that is you're going to have states that gradually phase out slavery at different parts, during different periods of time. If we look at in 1787, at the Philadelphia Convention, you're going to have 5 states that have already abolished slavery by 1787. They either abolished slavery fully, or they abolished the international transatlantic slave trade, which means bringing Africans into this country to enslave them. So the first state to abolish slavery is going to be Connecticut, July 2nd, 1777. That's 10 years before 1787. You're going to have Connecticut. You're going to have Massachusetts around 1781. You have Pennsylvania. So you have like 5 states by 1787 to abolish slavery. And then you're going to have some that are going to abolish it, after 1787 as well. So a lot of the way that we think of slavery in this country and the way slavery was phased out, a lot of the way we think it happened is not how it happened. You had individual states that had their own state governments, and some decided to keep slavery. Some decided to phase it out. And others are going to stay loyal to the Union during the Civil War and maintain slavery at the same time. Okay. Yeah, I said Vermont was the first state to abolish slavery. That was July 2nd, 1777. That was 10 years before. The Philadelphia Convention. And then even when we look at when you have the 13 colonies before their states, when you have the 13 colonies, you have so when we look at August 20th, 1619 in Virginia, codified slave laws don't even exist in the 13 colonies then. The first state to have codified slave laws is going to be Massachusetts in 1641. They come to Virginia in about 1661. So the different colonies adopt slave laws at different periods of time. Once again, the whole way this thing evolves is different than how we think it happened. Because see, a lot of people think that August 20th, 1619, that you had slavery in all 13 colonies. No, you didn't. And those 29 Africans are going to be put into a form of indentured servitude and basically released after about 3 to 5 years. So the whole way this history evolves is different than how we think it evolves. This is why we have to understand this history, because that forms the foundation of what we're dealing with today. That forms the foundation of the society that we are dealing with today. Okay. And a people's history and culture teaches them how to deal with the problems of the past in the present and the future to meet the needs of the community, to understand the laws, to understand the conflicts, to understand racism today. You have to go back and study the origin of this. All right, so check out this article from EJI.org. State of West Virginia formed slavery. State of West Virginia formed slavery authorized November 26, 1861. And here you see this conflict between Eastern Virginia and Western Virginia. And you see, even though they want to separate and form West Virginia and stay loyal to the Union, they still want to maintain slavery. All right. So, hey, follow us at our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. So, and this is why I talk about the study from the Southern Poverty Law Center, Teaching Hard History American Slavery, Teaching Hard History American Slavery. And this documents how the history of slavery in this country is being incorrectly taught in schools all across the country. And it makes recommendations of how to more correctly teach the history of slavery. Okay. But see, the history forms the foundation of this country, the foundation of the laws, the ideas that people have, the policies people support, the politicians that they support. This whole fight over the Confederate battle flag and the whole fight over Confederate monuments comes from a misunderstanding of history. These were traitors to the Union that committed treason against the Union based upon Article 3, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution. So what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Okay, the history and culture our history and culture gives us our foundation. It gives us our values, our interests, and our principles. And this influences our economic empowerment, our political empowerment. This gives us a cultural paradigm that we see reality through. Okay. So to understand what's taking place today, to understand the policies that are being put in place, to understand the policies that are being pushed, you have to understand the history of how we got to this point. All right. And we have to correct the misinformation. And to understand racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon race, which comes out of the ideology of European white supremacy. Racism doesn't have anything to do with not liking people or calling people racial epithets. That's bigotry. Racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon race that comes out of the ideology of European white supremacy. And we know that whoever controls the images controls the self-esteem, the self-development, the self-worth of the people. Whoever controls the history controls the future. Whoever controls the images controls the whoever controls the history controls the future as well. Okay, this is Dr. Leonard Jeffries. All right. So follow us at our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. My DVD lectures are available at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and digital downloads as well. We have the 6 DVD set, Black Migration 1619 to 2019, Black Migration 1619 to 2019. And it's a six title bundle set. And my presentation on Black migrations, we deal with that 400-year anniversary, 1619 to 2019, dispel a lot of myths. And then you get in that bundle pack, you also get 6 principles of political self-defense, understanding how laws and policies impact the economic conditions of African Americans. You get the lecture I did when Black men dominated horse racing, which deals with the history of African American jockeys and how we used to win the Kentucky Derbies until we were pushed out of horse racing. And the first Kentucky Derby was ran in 1875. It was won by a 19-year-old African-American man named Oliver Lewis. Okay. You get my 3-hour presentation, Why Black People Switched from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party, which goes back to the Lily White movement in 1928. Wasn't because of the Civil Rights Act of 64 and the Voting Rights Act of 65. No, that's not true. That goes back 40 years before that. You get another 3-hour presentation I did dealing with the history of Juneteenth. Okay. June 19th, 1865. Juneteenth history, Emancipation Day, not Independence Day, 40 Acres and a Mule. And then also you get Ancient Africans in America Before Native Americans, Columbus, or Slavery. I did that in like May 2019, that presentation. So there's a 6 DVD bundle package on digital download and DVD. It's on sale $45, the DVD bundle, and $40 the digital downloads. Okay. Black Migration 1619 to 2019. Check that out. And then we also have the double lecture I did with Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Where Africans Documented Evidence. He and I did a lecture together here in Detroit back in 2013. So we have that double lecture with he and I as well. And we have the 8 DVD bundle pack of the Africans who were here before Columbus, the Africans who were here before Columbus. Okay, so check all that out at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right, we're going to get out of here. And if you want to donate to the African History Network, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So there is a live stream and workshop coming up dealing with holistic health. Learn the tools that you need to properly assess your state of health, revitalize your cells with herbs, elixirs, and energy medicine, detoxify your total body, clear and revitalize your mind, be equipped with the ancient wisdom that will change your life. Learn about essential oils, crystals, and color therapies for increasing your vitality. Start a new career assisting others with iridology. Okay. This is from the Ascension Temple of Love, located at 1057 Ralph David Abernathy, West End, Atlanta, Georgia. They will be doing a live stream lecture Thursday, December 3rd, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Free lecture, consultation services. Then they have an energy healing taking place Friday, December 4th, 2020, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, December 5th, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. They have a lecture as well, and they'll be providing all services. Sunday, December 6th, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. All services as well. Call to reserve. There's limited space for appointments. They have precautions. They will be taking precautions due to COVID-19. Service discounts offered. Free live lecture, question and answer session with attendance, live stream available. So they will have iridology readings, all types of things like this, full cellular detox. They have a complete health package also that they offer, and you can become a certified iridologist as well. They will offer that also. They'll give you information about that as well. Just a second here. So for more information, visit templeofregeneration.com, templeofregeneration.com, or call 888-845-2743, 888-845-2743. Okay. And Let them know you found out about this from the African History Network, the African History Network show, templeofregeneration.com, templeofregeneration.com. This is taking place Thursday, December 3rd through Sunday, December 6th, 2020 in Atlanta, Georgia. But they will also be live streaming these sessions as well. Okay. So visit templeofregeneration.com, templeofregeneration.com, or give them a call, 888-845-2743. Okay. And we'll post a link here as well on the thread. All right. So look, hey, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace.